Okay, first I'm going to read something about inertia. It's Newton's laws of physics about how an object reacts. So we have a body at rest will stay at rest. A body moving at a constant velocity in a straight line continues doing so indefinitely. And then there was another part. To every action there exists an equal and opposite reaction. Now we're going to put this into emotional terms. Stopping the blame game. You see the balls on a desk. There's usually 5 in a row and one starts, or you could take 2 and the one in the middle stays there. So the blame game, the button pushing. Now, regardless of who the person is who's trying to push your buttons, there comes a point in our lives where we have to grow up and stop that blame game. Stop reacting. You know, here's person A, and this is the person who's pushing my buttons, and they come out with something, and I come out just as hard right back at them. Now, if I let this person say their words and I move aside, I've changed the course of emotional inertia. I don't come back the same way. They're looking for an objective. I'm not going to give it. They're looking for an equal reaction. I'm not going to give it. So I'm changing the inertia. By me changing, I'm forcing them to change. So if the child in us is crying out, it wasn't fair, it wasn't fair, it wasn't fair, and we continue on with the blame game, it's not hurting the person we're blaming. And for the person we're blaming has every right to carry that blame, but they don't. All it's harming is ourselves. But we want that justice, and we're not going to get that justice, but we can change our own reaction. So somebody comes up, and I don't care what the words are, they spit them at you. I'm not going to spit back the same way. I've changed my inertia. Instead of flying back out, to comedy. I see it differently now because I'm owning my own reactions. So if somebody comes at me, I'm going to see them for who they are. I know their objective. Their objective is to get in a fight with me or to have control, complete control of the situation. I'm not allowing that. And by me flipping off, I'm giving them that control because that's what they want. They want that tit for tat. Some people just live to fight. I don't get it. I'd rather run a 20-mile marathon than to have one stupid argument. Makes no sense to me, and I won't have them. And I won't be subjected to anybody's. Sorry. There's the door. So now, when you change your reaction, you know, simple words. When you want to have, right back at the person, when we can have a conversation where there's not a screaming match, but 2 adults speaking, I will do that. At this point right now, I see no benefit, and I'm just going to walk away. That pisses them off. When you first start this emotional inertia change, they come back hard because they want that fight, or they want that interaction. You're not giving it. I've heard plates smash and from the borrowed womb because I wasn't allowing it anymore. And I left. I left at the child, you know, in the older body, and I felt empowered. I controlled the situation. So don't let other people push that button. It's part of us growing up and gaining control over our own protection of growth. We don't need to be the victim who gets yelled at, who feels like the wronged one. You know, we may not have had justice, but to grow, you have to stop with the petty arguing and, you know, eventually you have to own your own actions. You can't keep doing the blame game in the same way. Yes, the person was wrong, you know, for the reasons we have post-traumatic stress disorder situations were wrong. There's injustice. But if words coming at us, we just step aside and just look. Don't come back with the same force. That's what's going to continue the conflict. Let that person go by and you just step aside. It's like stepping aside from a train coming full force. You could either stay on the track or you could step aside, a charging bull. Just stand there and let it attack you or step aside. Let that force go past you. By it not hitting you, they missed their aim. You've changed the course of the conversation. So just do a journal on how you are reacting to situations. And then think of other ways you could possibly react. Now, in therapy, there's always the don't say you. Once you say you're asking for a fight. I feel. Instead of you make me. Nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do verbally. You know, the borrowed womb used to say things to me and say things to me and say, and I'd look at her like this since I'm a little girl, 2 years old. Get that look off your face. And so, well, you can control what I do sometimes, and you can control where I go sometimes, but you can never control the way I look at you. You know? So don't give them that control. Be honest with yourself. Make a journal. Write down lists. Who's pushing your buttons, and how do you need to change yourself in growth to make that not occur any longer? It's part of growing up. I hope it helps.